there's no matches. To shorten the process and keep the spreadsheet consistent, you can add data validation, which basically adds a drop-down menu to the spreadsheet. So to add a status update drop-down list, you want to add a new column for status. And this animation on the right shows the user adding a new column and then labeling it status. If you want to, you can totally delete the complete checkboxes, since this new status column will contain the same kind of information. We don't really need the duplicate information. So we can get rid of that if you want, or you can keep it. Next, select the cells in the status column down to the bottom of your task list. And then open the data menu and then choose data validation. Notice that the cell range you highlighted appears in the box. These cells are where your drop-down list will appear. The animation on the slide shows the user selecting the cells in the status column where their drop-down list should appear. And then they open the data menu and then start adding data validation. Next, decide on what options should appear in your lists. So choose list of items, this is important, from the criteria menu. Then type in terms that will appear in your drop-down menu. In this case, we'll use some basic terms, just like in the animation here, to describe the status of the task. So not started, in progress, paused, needs attention, and complete. Make sure that you separate the items in the list with commas. If you don't do that, you'll have a single choice for all those in just one word. Right? It won't look right. So separate each item with a comma. To finish your list, make sure the show drop-down list and cell box is checked, right? And then save the data validation. The project tracker now has a drop-down menu in each of the cells of the owner column. The animation on this slide actually shows the user saving the data validation list, then select the drop-down menu next to the task and mark it complete. In Google Sheets, data validation allows only specific information to appear in that cell. So if you actually try to type in other information in the column, an error message appears. The animation on this slide actually shows the user typing in inconsistent status option in the drop-down menu. Then they click on that invalid error that pops up, which prompts them to choose a status option from the actual drop-down list. And that's data validation at work. That's how it works. You can use these menus to easily update the status of each task in your project tracker. This is much easier than typing in the status of each task, one at a time. Plus, it reduces the chance of typing errors. You can add other drop-down menus to streamline your tracking or any other categories you'll use several times, right? Like maybe the names of task owners or a priority level, right? All right, so just keep that in mind. Next, let's make this project tracker even more useful by color coding it. So when you're working with multiple collaborators on many tasks, you might also use a tool called conditional formatting. You can use conditional formatting to add color to certain cells. For example, you might want to change the completed items to green and any tasks that are held up that need to be reviewed in red. Conditional formatting changes the color or formatting in a cell if the contents of that cell matches a particular criteria. You can think of conditional formatting like an if-then sentence, right? So if the cell contains certain information, then the spreadsheet will change the formatting of the cell. For this example, let's say if the task is complete, change the fill color to green. Okay, so first you need to select the status column. So select format after that, and then conditional formatting. The cells you highlighted will show up in the box as the range. The range is a group of cells that will change. The animation on this slide shows a user selecting the status column and then opening format menu to begin adding conditional formatting. Next, we want to create the if part of the statement. We want to change the format if the cell says complete, right? So choose text contains from the drop-down menu, and then below that type complete. Now make sure when you type in complete, you type it, you spell it right, because this is probably one of the biggest issues people run into. They either type it wrong or in the drop-down menu, or they type it wrong in their conditional format. So make sure those match. So don't put like complete and completed. You're not going to get a match. Under formatting style, choose a color to go with the status. Green usually means go, right, or done, but use whatever color you like. The animation on the slide shows the user taking the steps to create conditional formatting using rules and then adding a color code. To set up more conditional formatting, add in rules, right? That's pretty easy. The animation on the right shows the user adding another conditional formatting rule. They create a new criterion and then choose a new color code. If you're color coding in the same column, duplicate the rule you just created. While you're looking at the first rule, select add another rule. This keeps the settings you gave for that first rule. Type in a different status from the data validation list into the box and choose a different color, right? You can change font styles, colors, sizes through conditional formatting. So it's not just about just changing background color, you can do different things as well. So when you've finished setting up and adding rules, use it, actually test it out. Use the drop-down menu to change the status of some of your tasks. The cells will display different background colors. You can then see how it works by watching animation on the slide. So when the user marks a task as complete, the color of the cell changes to green. Now you can tell the status of a task at a quick glance. Tools like data validation and conditional formatting are what separates a project management tracker from a simple to-do list. You can use these tools to work on longer projects that go through multiple steps and to make it easier for you to visualize your progress. So at this point, we've addressed several tools for project management, how to format a project tracker and how to use it to keep your project on task. But you'll also be managing other people as well. And you might even need to share results with stakeholders and investors too. Once you're satisfied with your tracker, share it with your team. The animation actually shows a user sharing their project with a colleague. Working with your team to develop the project objectives, goals, and milestones helps them to feel more invested in the process. And they can give you great ideas along the way. When a team member helps you create tasks and deadlines, they'll actually be more likely to give input in the process. They'll feel ownership over it and even be more responsible for completing those tasks. Even if you develop the project plan and assign those tasks, it's still important to communicate with your team regularly. Digital collaboration is easy to do with Google Docs and Sheets and Slides. In this last section of the workshop, let's look at how to share a spreadsheet and how to share feedback quickly using comments. Then I'll show you a useful trick for managing your own workload in multiple spreadsheets. To start collaborating digitally with your team, give them access to important files. You can share it a Google document, spreadsheet, or a presentation with other people, and then you can choose how much they can do with it. The image on the slide shows the share dialog that allows users to grant different levels of access to their colleagues. There's viewer, editor, and comment. If you want them to only see the progress of the project, you might give them view access. Investors and stakeholders may only need to be able to see and add comments. If you wanted teammates to update a sheet with their progress, they may need edit access. So when you share a document, you and your team can collaborate digitally at the same time. This is an important thing to kind of note. So they can actually open and work on the spreadsheet on their own computer and device. And then you can also open it up on your device and make edits at the same time from anywhere around the world. Another way you might collaborate with your team is to add a comment, to include someone in the conversation. For example, you should ask team members how long they think a task will take, and they can let you know if they encounter any problems along the way. The animation on this slide shows the user adding a comment into one cell in the spreadsheet. Let's say one of the tasks is close to its due date, Imagine you want to check in with the task owner to see whether it's on track. So you can simply select the cell that contains the due date, insert a comment, and then write a short reminder or question about that task, and then click comment. So when you add a comment, you also can also designate someone on your team as the actual specific owner of that issue. To do this, you would type the plus symbol and then add their email address. And you can ask for an update, or if you have a specific task that you or your teammate need to do, you can mark your comments as an action item. So as opposed to just making the comment, when you plus them in, you'll have the ability to make it an action item by clicking assign. The person will receive an email with your comment, and they will be responsible for completing the task and marking it as complete. The animation on the right actually shows the user selecting the cell in the spreadsheet tracker. They insert a comment, they type a short message, and mention a teammate. Then they assign the comment to that teammate. Now, this is a quick way to flag an outstanding task, or ask for a quick report, or remind your team members of something they need to do. You don't have to write a whole email or call them. Just simply select the text and then add the comment. They can visit the spreadsheet or even write back if they want to. Plussing someone into a comment in a project tracker is also one way you can give your team's input on an overall goal. And you can also use this feature in other Google apps like Google Docs if you want to work collaboratively with a big group of people. You can communicate regularly with the team to unblock them, or just to make sure they're not hung up on a particular challenge. And then also let them know any important changes that have been made to the project goals or processes. And remember, checking in with your team, even if it's briefly, can help you anticipate any possible challenges and adjust your schedule accordingly. So as your project grows, your spreadsheet will too. You can use your tracker as a hub for your own planning, and your team can access it so they can communicate and track multiple tasks. You may also find your goals, objectives, and milestones change as the project progresses. You can also update your digital project plan anytime from any device to keep it current and complete. All right, so in this workshop, I've given you an overview of several project tracking tools. We've covered a lot of digital tools like conditional formatting and data validation that you can use to make the process easier and more organized. And it was a lot of information. So let's take a few minutes to review. So in this workshop, we focus on the main phase of project management, tracking tasks, deadlines, collaborators, and status updates. We go in depth with the spreadsheet tracker that you can customize with drop-down menus, color coding, filter views, and collaboration. And you've learned to share files and communicate quickly with others by plussing them into the comments, right? There are many other digital tools that can help you manage projects. You may already notice the project planning templates in Google Docs or status update presentations in Google Slides. Each of these programs has dozens of other templates you can explore for all kinds of different personal or professional projects. So managing a long-term project takes a lot of input and organizational skills. To help, we've compiled digital resources that can make your job easier, more organized, and more effective. So next, I'll share with you some of Google's training resources that you can access remotely. There are many different learning paths and options. So we'll talk about these tools, and then you can determine which ones make the most sense to help you manage any kind of personal or professional project that you're currently working on. So we touched on a few collaboration features that Google has to offer. To get more in-depth training on these particular tools, you can complete applied digital skill lessons to build more Google Workspace projects for work, school, or even at home. Applied Digital Skills, if you haven't heard of it, is an online platform for digital learning that offers free video-based lessons for learners of all levels. So definitely check it out. If you want to sharpen your business and marketing skills, check out Primer. This is a free app that you can download on your phone. If you have an Android device, you can download it on Google Play. If you have an Apple device, you can download it from the Apple App Store. This is a series of short, fun lessons that are like 5 minutes each. and you can check it out at yourprimer.com. Elevate. This is a program that was actually created with developers in mind, but it's open to everyone. It offers free workshops to help people build on their professional development and career goals. Elevate actually runs through December 17th, 2021, and you can register at events.withgoogle.com/elevate-training-2021. Grow your digital skills no matter where you're located. Through our online workshops, you can learn the skills that can help you stay connected and productive while working or managing a business remotely. If you're curious about the workshops, you can take virtually from home. Visit g.co/growonair for our current virtual digital skills workshops and their descriptions. If you're learning to start a new career and land a competitively paid job, or even build skills to grow your career, check out Google Career Certificates. Google Career Certificates can give you a path to in-demand jobs with top employers that are currently hiring. You can earn a certificate and prepare for a new career in a high-growth field in under 6 months, even if you don't have any relevant experience. And you can learn at your own pace and complete the online program on your own terms. We currently have certificates available for IT support, project management, UX design, data analytics, and Android development. To get started, check out grow.google/certificates. All right, so let's regroup and talk about your next steps as you start to continue your projects. We want you to leave this workshop with a clear sense of what you should do next. So here are a few ways to move forward. To manage your tasks and collaborate with your team, create a basic project tracker in Google Sheets. You can also check out the templates available to see if any of these actually fit your project. And then you can add tasks, group your tasks, and create categories that help you break your project down. To customize your tracker and make it even more useful, you can add a column for resources and link relevant files there. You can use your tracker as a hub for all the important documents related to your project. Once your tracker is off the ground, use tools like sorting and filters to find information you need quickly. To make it even easier to read and understand, you can add drop-down lists and color codes. And then, of course, you can share your tracker with business partners, teammates, and stakeholders. If you want to continue growing your career in other ways, consider our other professionalization workshops. These courses help you work, teach, and learn from anywhere. Just quickly, here are all the resources we mentioned in today's presentation. Check out these websites for more in-depth information on what I covered today.